guys, yes. Welcome back to
I don't know, Dakota's in the way.
Where my camera? Right there.
Dakota,
I'm
move.
just gonna edit all this out.
No. We need bloopers. No, this is so
Okay.
iconic.
Can you see this section of the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're really gonna do it now. So pay attention.
Should we take notes?
It's up to you.
Okay, so that's yes. That's good. I like notes. I probably should.
Okay.
I refer back to them.
So, my guess is that up until this point, you've been good enough at English class that if somebody gave you an essay assignment, you could more or less just do it the night before, and you could more or less do it without planning. You just sit at the computer and like watch the cursor blink for a while, and then type something, and it probably comes out okay. Is that an experience that many of you have had?
No.
I plan.
I plan, but like
I have to.
I started outlining. I'm like, okay.
How many notes I have to refer to?
I have to plan.
Okay.
Good.
Good. I like that this is really the first class that's ever said they plan. I'm not sure if you're just lying to me.
No, like I'm dead serious.
Are they ever doing an essay online that's like you can't take it back? Like,
Good. So I do want you to plan, okay? I really didn't start planning essays until college when the demands were higher and the assignments were many. But that's where you're at right now because IB, right? So I want you to think about the essay writing as a process, and I want you to think about it in 5 steps, okay? The first step is pre-writing and thesis development. So before you do anything else, you have to have some sort of idea what you're going to say in your essay, what you're going to write about. Okay? You really can't get started without doing that. The next stage is organization.
we have forgot her entire person here.
What?
We have forgot her entire person here. How does
Don't know. Next stage is organizing and outlining your ideas. I remember being a sophomore and my teacher required us to turn in an outline with our papers to prove that we had written an outline, and I and everybody else I knew just wrote the outline afterwards to like reflect what we had written in the paper. Yeah, not a great plan. The third stage is drafting the actual essay. The fourth stage is revising, and I mean real revising where you're thinking about the structure, you're thinking about the ideas, you're not just looking for comma errors, okay? That stage is proofreading, and it should be last. Who can tell me, where do you think most of your time should be spent? Where's the biggest portions of this process? Mia?
my like organization outlining?
I just say like 2 through 4.
Okay. I would say it's these 2. Okay? Because if you don't have, in some sense, we've been doing this the whole time. Okay? If you were just reading the book without discussing it, then you wouldn't have done this. But all the discussion questions, all the discussions we've had, the time I had you find every instance of the word phony, that's all pre-writing in some way. You're developing ideas about the text. So just because we've done a lot of it doesn't mean you're done with it yet, because you're not done with it until you have a at least draft version of the thesis statement, something that you're going to prove in the novel and some basic idea of how you might go about proving it. Okay, so that's really important. The next important stage is, like Autumn and Mia said, organization and outlining. When you're writing really complex arguments, as you need to be in this class, it's important that you're thinking about the structure of an argument, which is something we'll talk about. You can't just throw it together however it comes to you, because it probably won't be the best possible organization. And there's not one right way to organize. I'm sure you were taught the 5-paragraph essay and like some rules about where to put what information. But that's not going to work anymore, because now I need you to tailor the way you organize your information to your exact idea. Okay, like think about cooking or baking. You don't make every recipe the exact same way. You don't always have the exact same steps in the exact same order, because it's a lot different making stir fry than it is baking chocolate chip cookies. So you need to be, you need to think about how you're presenting information, and if you're presenting it in the most persuasive way possible, because these are all ultimately persuasive essays. Then you write your draft. If you've done steps 1 and 2 well, writing the draft should be almost boring. It's so easy, because you're really just turning this from bullet points and outline form into full sentences. All the decisions about what goes in what paragraph happens up here. So this is the hard work here, and this should be really relatively easy comparatively. Real revisions, looking at your paper once it's in its paragraph written form and saying, okay, am I making the right decisions here? Am I proving my arguments effectively? Do I have enough textual evidence? Am I skipping steps of my logic? Is there somewhere I need to explain more? Is this plot summary? Asking yourself some tough questions. And maybe you need to go back and reorganize something. Okay? Real revisions are not just hitting spell check and hoping for the best. Hopefully, you can write an outline in a detailed enough way that you can revise the outline before you write a draft, and you won't have to go all the way back. But realistically, sometimes you will. Okay? And I want you to sort of accept that, that you can't expect this to be perfectly linear. Only once you really are comfortable with everything you've written in terms of content. I've chosen all the best arguments, I've put them in the structure that I want, I've chosen all the best textual evidence, I know what I'm trying to say, and I know how I want to say it. Only then do you want to do proofreading. Because what's the point of worrying about if a sentence has the comma in the right place if you're just going to delete that sentence later? Don't worry about the proofreading, even to some degree the spelling, things like that. Leave that to the final stage. It's essentially like the final polish. It's important, right? Because a good essay can be ruined by bad grammar. If I'm reading it and I can't get past the fact that you can't write an English sentence, you know, maybe that's troubling. But it's not as important as the ideas, which is really what we're building on. Okay, I know you guys can do this part. So save it to the end and don't waste a lot of time polishing sentences that won't end up in your final draft. Questions so far? Okay. Can somebody pause the video? Actually, stop it.